Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Coin Republic. I'm Nuala Naughton, and I'm here today with multi-award winning documentary filmmaker Jonny Caplan, who's on a mission to bring NFTs and the Metaverse to a household near you. Thanks for joining us, Jonny.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Such a lovely description of what we're trying to do to a household near you. That's really, really very much resonating the message of what we're trying to do with NFT Me. So good job.
So why is, I mean, we know that something like only 1% of the universe, I think, even knows about NFTs and cryptos. So why is mass adoption so important?
But I think now with the release of several Bored Apes and other collections from celebrities, I think that number is going up very slightly. But we're definitely under 5% of the world who actually know what the heck is going on in this space. Certainly in the crypto space, and that isn't growing at a very fast rate because it's quite a cliquey environment, right? People come into it, they make friends, they stay in the environment, they become loyal, but you don't really see mass education out there. And that was really the problem for me. I saw a fantastic market, lots of opportunity, lots of activity, lots of access, lots of inclusivity, wonderful social traits that are coming out of it. And I don't really see mass adoption. I don't see education. I don't see the pouring of information outside of the boundaries of the crypto space. And that really alarmed me because I said, there's a wonderful thing here. There's a wonderful chance for opportunity for many, many millions of people around the world. Why shouldn't they have access to this information? And it happens to be what I do in my vocation anyway. So we decided to take the bull by the horns and spearhead the initiative forwards. And 12 months later, we have a documentary series that is complete. We filmed in 5 different continents. We've filmed over 50 guests, some of the leaders of the NFT community, people that haven't. I'm not talking about leaders by the people who made the most bucks, right, in their pocket, but the people who really led to educate others and include them and build and collaborate and really make the very essence of the industry what it is today. And those people are the people that you'll hear from on NFT Me Season 1. You hear from the people themselves. You don't hear from me. I talk too much when you give me the chance to, and you want to hear from the other people, the people who are actually building it, and a very, very diverse set of people now.
Absolutely, and you really pulled off a masterstroke because you managed to get all of this into the school curriculum at which is amazing, and also talking to the House of Lords only a few weeks ago about it. We need to get into the fray, don't we? How difficult is it to get the whole message of NFTs and metaverses out there to these decision makers?
But I think that anybody knows how difficult it is translating NFTs to anybody, never mind to an industry that doesn't adopt change very quickly or the future very quickly. So I think NFTs in themselves, this non-friendly terminology, NFT, that they came up with, non-fungible token, is something that wasn't marketed very well. It was built by techies and not people who really aspired the public relations of the future of the market. And therefore, we have a very difficult job translating that to the masses because we can't just change that technology. We have to work with what's there. We have to be aware of it, and therefore we have to work with it. So it's been very difficult. The first stage was obviously enlightening them to this new market and the reason that they need to be on top of it. And I think there's still a big learning curve. And I think really, as I said to you last night, we had an event last night and we spoke there. And as I said to you, I think that 2 years after broadcast of NFT Me Season 1, we'll only really understand the effects of it, because in the interim, people will be learning at such a fast rate and adopting and being intrigued to come in themselves. And anybody else that's connected, your family, my family, anybody that's connected to somebody who's dealing in NFTs or crypto in the first place, will finally be able to understand it and see what's going on and recognize it for all of its beauty, and then be able to make a choice. Am I interested in it? Am I not interested in it? But at least I have that information. And that's what's really crucial for me.
Absolutely, and I mean your new series NFT Me, it's already been tipped to be as kind of like a conduit to this huge long march of getting ordinary people like me to understand this whole thing. I mean, we were talking also about how many times we think the word fungible must have been Googled in the past year or so. It is quite an archaic terminology. So minting NFTs in your NFT Me um, .tv series, you take like ordinary people, some rather reluctant, and even a fabulous member of the Supremes. For all the Motown lovers like me out there, how did you pull this group together and get them to even understand what you were trying to get them to do? I mean, it must have been quite satisfying when you actually saw the glaze come off their eyes and saw that the penny dropping. What was that like? Actually making and bringing these people together. How did you choose?
Such a great question. So, firstly, because we were talking about film on the blockchain, right? That's something I talked about in the House of Lords in the House of Parliament in London a month ago. But you know, what are we doing with the film in the meta? What's the connection to it? So for us, it was imperative that a certain portion of what we were doing was connected to the blockchain. It wasn't just we were talking about it; it's that we were intrinsically linked to it and the community. So what we did is we actually funded around 10% of the production through the sale of NFTs. And a lot of those people who got involved, they managed to get involved with the production, either advise us who to put on there, or perhaps advise on content direction or places and things like that, and helped us to curate it in such a way. And I have to say, there's certainly some divine intervention here, or karma, or energy, or however you want to look about it in the world, fate, because this was a massive endeavor. And we asked to do it. We said we predicted to do it in 9 months. It was almost half of what it normally takes us. We didn't achieve it. We achieved it in 12 months, which was also still a record breaking time. But through that 12 months, it was an impossible task of piecing together this fast growing, evolving market industry that nobody can really put their finger on. Nobody understands where it's going. Everybody's falling through different experience left, right, and center. How on earth do you document that? How do you get the very essence of that across to the people? And how do you educate them in a way that's not boring, that's not too technical, that's not too sciencey, that doesn't restrict elderly people, younger people, all sorts of people who might not be interested or in the know with those types of things. So it was a massive uphill struggle, let me say that. It was a labor of love. We enjoyed every minute of it. It was intriguing. It was enlightening meeting people. But the truth is, until we were about halfway across the mark of production, it didn't fall into place. It was like we were pulling all these things from different, and I had a vision and an idea, and the editing team, the production team didn't fully understand that idea. It was in my heart, in my head, and I tried to translate it. And then we have all these different ingredients coming in. How can you see the final picture? I don't even know what the final picture is going to look like. So what was amazing is when we finally started to shape up episode 1, episode 2, we had an exact style for the show. There were clear breaks between telling people what's going on in the space and then sharing experiences from particular people so that you get a personable feel to what's going on. And I think we have a perfect representation. I'm not saying that because we built it and I'm the creator, but I'm saying that truly. I'm a perfectionist, and we've worked this over. We spent way over budget. We went over time according to my schedules to do stuff to make sure that it was perfect. And the show is a true representation of what I experienced over the last 2 years in the NFT space, which is a wonderful community of people and environment, where people are actually just helping each other and including each other and collaborating and looking for opportunity. And everybody seems like-minded. And I find that absolutely mind-blowing. And that's something that I want to share with the rest of the world. We've packaged it in a bottle, and you have this wonderful 6-part series 30 minutes per episode. By the time you've watched 3 hours of NFT Me, you will understand fully what's going on in the space. And then you can decide what to get involved with, decide what to immerse yourself in, decide what to research more. We don't tell you everything, but we give you the tools that you can go and fish for yourself. Make sure that you can eat every day. You've got dinner. I'm not just going to give you dinner for one night, and I'm going to teach you to fish, and then you can go do it for yourself.
It's fabulous. And you've got quite a list of an A-list of big hitters in the space that have joined you on the show. Frank Smits and
We've got Alexander Mazai, who is the godfather of NFTs.tips. I certainly came in through that community, and tens of thousands of other people came in through there and learned their NFT journey through that community, which was a free learning community. We've got Suze Green of the Supremes, as you said, an absolute superstar. We've got Refik Anadol, who's probably one of the most widely known and biggest digital artists in the world. He has his work displayed in museums and galleries and the front of hotel lobbies and the Salesforce building. I mean, he's incredible art. And he tells you about on the show how he didn't have a clue what NFTs were. He was one of the biggest digital artists in the world, and he didn't have a clue what NFTs were. And somebody said to him, well, I want the next one I buy from you on the blockchain. And he was like, well, what are you talking about?
What's a blockchain?
Yeah. And through that, he realized, oh my gosh, everything I do is intrinsically linked to this thing, and I never thought of it, and launched a collection. He's now creating an NFT collection for NASA, which we talk about, and SpaceX, which we talk about on the show. And he's taking their data and making it into NFT paintings. You can get a limited edition data expression from NASA through Refik Anadol. So people like that, Peter Rafelson, who wrote, Madonna's "Open Your Heart," and so many other amazing greats.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, somebody who's actually totally immersed in the digital art space didn't even know what NFTs are. I just I think what you're doing is absolutely groundbreaking. What was we do know? I mean, that you do say it was a backbreaking job, right? But actually, for you, it literally was. I mean, you broke your back and you've ever improvising and ever improving. You managed to recruit a couple of robot directors. Is that right?
Something like that. I wish they could direct as well. But as with very good robots, they listen to instructions, which was great. Through the process, 12 months to produce a season is a very short time frame, especially when you're filming in 15 to 20 different countries around the world. You don't have a clear picture of every shot and what the final product should be, because I mean, we're inventing here, we're pioneering. It wasn't all written in stone when we started. So very difficult task, a lot of stress. I certainly put the team and myself under a lot of stress and focus to make sure we achieved it. I think there's a very small window to tell this story. I think that's what's happened in the last 2-3 years in the NFT space, is a phenomena that most people haven't witnessed, and thousands of us have witnessed it, and it's something that should be shared. Luckily, we were documenting that along the way. We have a phenomenal representation of that, which I believe gives you a clear insight into what's going on in a very concise time frame, and very enjoyable, engaging documentary series. Wonderful music, wonderful animation and visuals, fantastic guests that are telling you honestly, innocently, clearly what they experienced and how you should understand the things in there. Because instead of my friends sitting on Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces for night after night with hundreds of people asking the same questions over again, can't we just put it into a beautiful recorded show where everybody can understand, and then they can come in and learn and experience for themselves? So through that process, I somehow fractured my entire spine, all the vertebrae in my spine, through, I guess, what the doctors say is stress, if that's even possible. I wasn't unable to walk halfway through the production for several weeks, still not fully healed, but actually through the drive of the show, through the passion to deliver what we'd set out to deliver, through my desire to complete, I rehabilitated myself, and I managed to pull myself up to the computer and remote direct. As we said, we used a partner of ours called Temi Robots, which sent us a couple of their robots around the world, and they have like an iPad for the face, and I can actually zoom into or FaceTime into the iPad, and then it has a LiDAR sensor on it. So it can actually check the environment. One of the crew can show it around the floor. It knows where it can go, where it can't go. And then I can actually control it via the software and look through it and talk to people and interact. So the robot became my autonomous, semi-autonomous body. And it was there on the ground with the film crew. And you'll actually see in parts of the show, we show a wide shot, and you'll see there's actually a robot on the stage, and you can see my face on the robot. And we don't specifically talk about it on the show, but you can notice that I'm in the presence, and of course I'm interviewing everybody. I'm conducting I'm directing and executive producing the show. So I have to be there and have to be able to see what's going on. The alternative is putting a iPad on a tripod, which is very limited to what I can see that's going on. This is a wonderful piece of technology that I can move around. And if the crew starts setting up a light over there, I can turn around, I can move backwards, I can go over and talk to a guest. I mean, the future is quite incredible.
Crikey, I know. I mean, Neurolinks is the next thing, I think, and there are selfies of you, I think, or people actually hugging the robot. I've got this fabulous vision in my head of you and the robots taking up seats on a flight to Mumbai, but that didn't happen. I understand, but you have taken the show like from the States to India to everywhere. No.
I love the robots, but they don't get flight chairs. They don't get seats on planes, right? They go in cargo. So it's a great vision, but they're boxed up, and so it's not as beautiful as you would think. We filmed all across the world. We filmed in Dubai. We filmed in India. We filmed all across the States. We filmed across Europe. We filmed in Asia, in Hong Kong. There was so many different amazing locations that we were at. It's a clear representation. As I said, there's so much diversity on the show. There's people from all different cultures, all different walks of life. There's collectors, there's artists, there's technology providers, there's financial payments, wallets, all the sorts of things, so you can understand all the different players in the space. And there's artist representation, there's curators, there's all sorts of people, really. So you get a feeling, just like we did, every time you come into the space, of diversity, of various different verticals that you can explore and learn and delve into and find out more. And I think that's the beauty of this space, is it's not finite. Nobody knows what the future is going to be yet. We're all building it. And even the big brands, the big networks, nobody knows what the future of this market's going to be. So the world is our oyster.
Absolutely, and the world is going to hear about it. I understand that your TV series NFT Me is going to be broadcast around all the major stations across the world. Yeah,
correct. So actually, what we're going to do in true Web3 style, we launched the premiere of NFT Me in a red carpet metaverse environment. So it's a virtual environment, a custom world that we've built with the assistance of Arium Spaces. It is a red carpet experience included with other worlds that you can portal to. That's this NFT environment, NFT Me environment. And actually, we have a VIP day on the 1st of September where we actually premiere the show. That's for featured guests, VIPs, senior executives. And then we have a media day a few days later, where the media and the press and some of the entertainment professionals can come in. And then we have general admission, where everybody else can come in. Now, this is a red carpet experience, right? So you come in, you can mingle, you can network, you can go to see performances, you can see artwork, you can connect with people. There's proximity sound. So as you walk to and from things, you get this sensation of walking through the metaverse. There are spectacles to see and things to get involved with. And of course, then we have the screenings, and you'll get notified to say, The screening is about to start. Please make your way through the portal to the red carpet area. You come into the red carpet environment, and then your experience, without telling you all of the secrets, the sorts of feeling as you go down the red carpet to come into the theater, and then come into the actual theater. And then we will display a few episodes of NFT Me. They'll be on a certain schedule. There is a limited number of people that can come into the environment at any time to protect the security of the content and to make sure the experience is great for everybody. And that's why we're doing it a few times over what we call Metaverse Premiere Week. We have some of the top networks coming to join us: Disney, Discovery, Amazon, Fox, loads of major networks that are coming to enjoy it. We have reporters, journalists, influencers, celebrities, major leaders in the NFT space, all coming to see this. They've been looking forward to it, and it's been a long 12 months. 12 months in the NFT space, even though it's fast for a production, is a very long time for the NFT community.
So, what are the different levels of entry into? How do you get a hold of some of these golden tickets then?
You don't have to buy Willy Wonka chocolate bars, so that's the start. So the VIPs got airdropped their VIP ticket. You can't actually access one of those VIP tickets. You have to be invited. It's limited to 120 people. So it's a very exclusive event. If you are in the media space, you can go via techtalkmedia.tv, write to us on our form, tell us who you are, we'll check you out, and if it's okay, we can join you to the media and entertainment day. That's a free of charge experience. General admission, there are tickets available according to limited availability on each of those 5 or 6 days. That if you're able to be one of the lucky ones to get one of those tickets, it's available at 0.05 ETH each ticket. We see that to be, a fairly reasonable fee for the experience. It's a once in a lifetime historical experience. There's nothing else like this in the world. And we know that setting forth this documentary as it is will make a cosmic change in the global marketplace, because the amount of people that will absorb this information and share it and actually make some action based on that will cause a huge reaction in the marketplace and around the world. And we've seen that with our other shows, right? Our Tech Talk show, 11 award winning, as you said, it's on the British curriculum with PricewaterhouseCoopers. It's been adopted by NASA and other organizations. It has massive effect in more than 100 countries around the world today. We just released our Rise of AI and our Inside NASA's Innovations series, award-winning series on Discovery and Virgin Media. Those again will follow the same path in making a massive positive impact and change in the world. And we believe so with NFT Me, it has much higher opportunity, because none of the other shows have that instant reaction. If you want to get involved in the AI market and you hear what's going on, you've got to reach out to one of the companies, reach out to us, find them, contact them. It's a process, right? Set up meetings. With blockchain, if you're interested, if you want to get involved, you can have some immediate interaction with it. So for us, it's like a huge science project. We're sharing it because the information needs to be out there, but we can't wait to see what the impact and the reaction of sharing that content will be. And we believe it's going to be just unprecedented.
I mean, it's amazing. You actually interviewed guys that are making like flying taxis already, and amazing stuff. It's very sci-fi fiction, but actually science fact. So we'll be seeing like flying taxis in the next couple of years, flying Ubers.
100%, and that's what we are. Our company, Tech Talk Media, is on the forefront, on the bleeding edge, on the cutting edge of technology, where we take what's actually happening right now. Like you said, science fiction. It feels like science fiction, but for instance, the guy who's making those flying taxis from Urban Aeronautics, which was one of the companies, I've interviewed hundreds of different amazing, I've been very blessed to meet all these amazing innovators and pioneers. And these guys have been working 30 years on a flying taxi, but only in the last 2 years is it really coming to fruition and commercialization. They believe we're 2 years away from actually seeing them on the streets. So much like in blockchain, it's been around for 10 years, if not more. And people have been developing it. You know, if you talk about Fluff World, for instance, one of the NFT collections, their team has been developing this for a decade already before it even got to blockchain, right? They had the vision ahead of time. So you'd be surprised how much effort goes into this sci-fi technology, this futuristic advancements. But they're just on our doorstep and they're incredible. And we just love sharing that with the rest of the world.
Absolutely. And do you think art as really art NFTs have been a major push in getting people to getting the artists even to understand what the NFT and the Web3 world is really all about? It's
If you left it to the terminology of blockchain and minting and burning and you know all of this kind of bad terminology, but you really didn't have that element of creativity and inspiration which the artwork offers you. For me, you know, I've been talked to about blockchain a decade ago, right? And I wasn't interested in it then. I wasn't really interested in crypto, much to my, you know, my mistake. I wasn't interested in it. There wasn't a hook to get me in there. And for me, when they attached artwork, pictures, JPEGs, animation, music, something to that token, to that NFT, right? NFT is just a token, a non-fungible token, an immutable token. You put it on the blockchain, it's locked, you put in the information, that's how it stays. That's the theory of it. It's not very exciting. It's not very sexy. So if you build a character on it, it becomes personable. It's something that you can have an affinity to. It's the color you like, it's the sound you like. Then it's something that you can align with. And once they started doing artwork with it, certainly for me, I came into the space painting and creating digital artwork and selling it on the Tezos network, right? That's what I originally got into the space and learned about the space. And I quickly became a collector. And then I became a leader in the space because I was mesmerized by the what the space can do for people. So I think that you know creativity is a fundamental element to it. I think it's a very innovative space. I think that 80 to 90% of the community inside this space are innovators and pioneers and creators who want to make the world a better place, who want to change things, advance them, evolve them. And I think this offers them that opportunity. And therefore putting some kind of visual element to it just makes it sexier, more appealing, more engaging, and therefore we can all engage over it and get involved and have the benefits of this the technology.
absolutely, and that's one of the things your series is blows away this myth that people their first reaction is why pay, because a lot of this art's selling for like thousands and millions, and people are saying why pay that for a JPEG, but as you just explained um it's not just a JPEG. So that's your series really sort of blasts that out of the water. However, artists aren't traditionally business people. They want to create. They don't necessarily have this ethos of making a business out of it. But you were saying that a number of the artists in your series, as a result of your series, have created multi-million-dollar businesses. Is that right?
Well, from our Tech Talk series, which was our first flagship series, we've seen the creators on that show hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in investment, strategic partnership, deals from the exposure from being on the show. So absolutely, it is almost the pathway to success because we give them exposure in 100 countries and with people they could never ever reach, never ever place them on television and have people actually engaged and excited about what they're doing. There just isn't placement or space for it today. There are shows like The Apprentice, Shark Tank, Dragon's Den, very cool shows, fun. I regret to say I was on one of them. I'm not even going to say which one, right? You know, those shows are great, but they're not a true representation of what's going on around the planet. And what we do is give a true representation. We give people the advantage of being in the know. and that gives them a access and exposure like never before. So, even with this new series, NFT Me, we've had live parties at NFT NYC and Miami Basel, and we always provide opportunities for creators to perform, to display their artwork, to do stuff always alongside everything we do. And for instance, Creatress, who's a VR artist, asked to perform, and of course we let her, and she was wonderful. And she's been closing gigs for major brands and being recognized because she performed at one of our parties and had that exposure. So often we're giving the underdog a platform somewhere to expose themselves, because it's very difficult in this world to get access to eyeballs, to share your story. There's so much going on, and we provide a positive and inspiring and motivational and exciting place to do that, so everybody can feel welcome and included.
And by that you really mean everybody. This isn't just something for young people and tech guys or anything like that. I mean, by the end of this series, people in homes all over the world who have any creativity or any idea, and it doesn't have to be physical art. It can be sculpture, it can be music, songwriters, poetry, and the written words. So it really does open up a huge world for people just sitting in front of the television. I think there's going to be a light bulb moment going on across the world.
Yeah, you asked me about broadcast before. So a couple of weeks after we have Metaverse Premiere Week, we will release the show to our tier one broadcast partners around the world. And we sell our content to more than 30 different tier one broadcasters. Most of them you would recognize. So we'll start to roll that out. There's a delivery process. There's adjusting the formats for each of the different broadcasts and so on. So it'll take a period of a few weeks and months for it to roll out to its full steam. When it does that, it will have such wide exposure, exactly as you said, to the mass market. All of our shows are designed to encourage people of all ages. As you said, PricewaterhouseCoopers takes our content and puts it to 8 to 14-year-olds for them to learn, and especially part of their Tech She Can charter to inspire young women, young girls to get into technology and those types of businesses which they wouldn't necessarily do. So we bridge that gap. That's exactly what we're about. So it has to appeal to a wide range. It has to be understandable, not too much business, not too techy, very, very middle of the road, but very, very enjoyable and understandable and engaging at the same time as educational.
And it's something that mums and kids and dads and kids can get involved in together and learn about together. I was going to ask you, okay, aside from the slight issue of breaking your back, right? And that's not fun. I'm not laughing because it's funny, and you know that, because it's not, and you're still getting through it. But what were the kind of major stumbling blocks in getting this whole series out or up and running?
I think that it's a great question, and no, breaking it back is not fun. But it was a logistical nightmare in the sense that there were so many different moving parts to do in such a short space of time. We doubled up our production team. We were not able to do it with a standard production team in the time frame, so we had to increase personnel. That was step number one, and then it was how do you increase personnel and actually get people to integrate when they're used to maybe doing one job themselves, not sharing it or sharing it with multiple people. So there was a logistical nightmare that we got through very quickly, and we learned to organize that. And then I guess the hurdles really of any standard production, which is having it's independently financed. So ensuring that we have enough funds to do everything, and where are those funds coming from, and how are we spending those funds. So that was a very important factor. Actually, the robot saved us some funds because he doesn't charge as much as I do when he has to fly. So the cargo for the robot is cheaper than sending me on a plane at certain times. So we saved a bit of money that way. But seriously, you know, that I would say one of our biggest problems still remains is before you see the show, how do we show to the television networks how to place this? How will they understand what the audience will be, what the reaction of that audience is, where to put it in their slate of programming, to place it at what time, all these kind of things. It's a new market, it's a brand new show, it's something they haven't really considered before, and they're learning themselves. They're very excited by the content, but where does it go? Where do we fit it? How's it going to work? So these are all learning curves that we'll get through. We're pushing everything forwards. We are going to very unusually spend a lot of marketing dollars to keep promoting the show whilst the broadcasters are, you know, we're going to help them by spending money ourselves to broadcast it, because we need people to know about this show. We feel very, very passionately about it. So we're securing all sorts of partners that will help us with a common goal, to help to share the story, to help to create more exposure, to create live events around the world, where people can experience the stuff right in front of them. Our events, you see people doing live VR, people rapping, people painting, all sorts of things are going on right in front of you. And then there's a lot of NFTing of that stuff going on in real time. Sometimes there's actually booths that you can see holograms, and then you can buy that hologram through an NFT system. There's so many cool stuff that you can experience it, because it's not just about Metaverse. NFTs are not about buying digital art. It's almost like a passport to something else. You can buy a JPEG that connects you to a community, that connects you to a further income stream, that connects you to certain events and social meetups that might change your life much more than the initial JPEG did in any shape or form. So NFT is just this token, and it's how we use it. There's so many million ways to do that. 5 years from now won't look anything like what it is right now, because there's going to be such rapid evolution. Things are going to develop very, very quickly.
And one of the things we hear a lot is all this technology and all the energy that it takes, and carbon footprints, and all of that. There is a very real and justified worry about the effect on the planet. However, I mean, in my experience, a lot of the NFT collections have some kind of in their smart contract, have some kind of clause built in that involves a humanitarian or a sustainability project, more so than any other art project that I've seen. You know, what would you say to people that say, you know, the world's in a bad enough state, why are you trying to make it worse, kind of thing, with all this
So
technology?
in a nutshell, I would say the social positive impact from the NFT space definitely outweighs today any damage, that perceived damage that it could be doing. But let me say this. Number one is, there isn't really anything in the world that you can do on a mass scale that doesn't use some of the energy, some of the world's resources. I think what they were doing initially was much more heavier on the environment. With Ethereum 1, for instance, they have the Ethereum 2 merge, which is happening now, which is inherently uses a much smaller carbon footprint than the Ethereum beforehand. The reason I got into Tezos originally is because it's an almost green cryptocurrency, and there are plenty of others like it, like Palm and so on, right? So there are many of people who are very strongly passionate about this issue. There are many blockchains that are out and are coming out that almost don't make a carbon footprint at all, if not carbon zero, carbon neutral. And so therefore, for me, it's an almost non-issue, in the sense that I could understand there was some apprehension hearing about Ethereum and Bitcoin in the early days and how much carbon it would take to do that. But as with when we built cars and planes, they were very, very polluting in the first place, and we learned how to reduce that considerably. I can't imagine us living without planes today. So of course we're building electric planes, we're building other things that might not use or have so much environmental damage, but we need to advance with technology. It's very important. I think people are working on this. We're definitely moving towards a much more carbon neutral situation. So for me, it's not really an issue that remains as serious as maybe it was initially.
So, what's your major message that you want the viewers to take away from this series, even from page one?
That's a really, really great question that no one's really asked me before. But what I really, really want them to take away from this show is to understand the essence of opportunity. That's really it. I'm agnostic to blockchain or any particular blockchain. I'm agnostic to NFTs, PFTs, or QFTs, which don't exist. I'm just saying, whatever the abbreviation for opportunity would be phenomenal. But what I've seen in this space is there's an array of technology which we know how to use. It's internet-based technologies, which we've had for a couple of decades, right? We know effectively how to use these things. They have a lot of potential in what they can do for us, and the opportunity that lies in this space is unprecedented. And that comes through sharing and education and evolution and all of these amazing developments that we have to get through. It doesn't just come on a silver platter when you get there, but it offers the keys to opportunity in some of the darkest, most remote places in the world. And that's something which we're lacking greatly today. There's much more governmental control, restrictions, regulations. They're bolstering more and more every single day. So the more that we can do to have sovereignty, to have the ability to interact freely and with each other in an agnostic manner, I think is a wonderful thing. I'm trying to get that very essence of opportunity, of love, of encouragement, of enlightenment that you can find inside this space. It's not an absolute oasis, but it has the very elements, the very ingredients that make amazing opportunity for so many people around the world.
Absolutely, and the collaboration aspect is prevalent throughout the NFT community, isn't it? And there's a lot to be said for not keeping it to yourself. If you if you have a specific skill and someone else has another skill, the two together really can elevate a project beyond their individual capabilities. So yeah, partnerships are firing up all over the place.
I found remarkable about this space is even though there are lots of people effectively competing, you could say they were competing because they're doing similar things. You don't have that same feeling of competition as you do in the centralized world. So you see a lot of encouragement, you see a lot of collaborations. A lot of the major projects are collaborating today on many different levels because they see a synergistic future, they see a synergistic roadmap, and they realize, like, maybe I don't need to step on somebody else's toes in order to advance in the world, but maybe there's a way we could work together and all be stronger and be better. So I think there's a unity inside this market, which I find very encouraging, that I would like to see more of it around the world. I'd almost lost my faith in it before I discovered it inside this space. So it's very important for me to get that across, to get this community feeling, this unity, this opportunity, the chance to succeed, positivity, inspiration. All of those things we're lacking greatly in this world. And if we have more of that on the table, it's only going to make the world a better place.
And there's absolutely, and there is this feeling of excitement of some revolution happening in this space, like has never happened for decades. And I, for one, can't wait for all the rollouts, and I can't wait to see the series coming out. And I was just wondering, how we like a bit of an exclusive here at the TheCoinRepublic. I was just wondering if there's anything else that you can tell our listeners and watchers.
Sure. I still under confidentiality to release the names of the television broadcast partners, so I won't be able to do that at this stage. But I'll tell you what I can do, because this is something that's only actually happened today. Obviously, the show was way oversubscribed. We could only fit in around 50 guests on season 1. There's so many amazing creators and pioneers around the world. We couldn't feature all of them. We had to get a concise series that everybody could experience. So unfortunately, there'll be no sleep for us, and we are moving swiftly into season 2, almost 2 weeks after launch. So we will be putting a link live later today. It will be nftme.tv/season2. If you know somebody that you believe that might be a good contender for us to cover in season 2, if you might be a partner, if you want to get involved with our live events, if you want to connect with us and you see there is something that you can add of value to season 2, certainly get in contact. That's something that we've only released that today. The link will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern time today. And then, of course, people can start making applications, and then we'll consider them for filming of season 2, which is going to go into production almost immediately.
You heard it here first. Thanks very much, Jonny, for joining us here at the TheCoinRepublic, and we'll be signing off here. See you next time.
Thank you so much, Nina. Really appreciate it.